But speaking of misguided, we got to talk about the last thing that people really have a problem with in this movie. Something that you either think is misguided or you think is not misguided. People are going to fall on either side of that fence, I think. It's the soundtrack for this movie. Um, Apparently, it's a big point of contention for
Wake
people.
me up.
Wake me up inside. I can't wake up. um, but yeah, I'd like to get your take on this first. I want to hear if you think
Save
the
me.
yeah.
My takeaway? My
Yeah, what's
takeaway.
what's your take on this? What do you think about the audience's feelings? Or do you agree with them, or are you on the other side of
My
that?
takeaway is that I've listened to every song on this soundtrack at least 10 times, and I will continue to do so, regardless of the shame that I'm supposed to feel. Talk about guilty pleasures. I don't think there's going to be something that follows me to my grave more than how often I've listened to the Daredevil soundtrack. Okay.
Specifically, specifically the Daredevil soundtrack, not songs from the
Well,
Daredevil
you can
soundtrack
find the soundtrack, or you can just find a playlist on
that
Spotify
has all the
that
soundtrack
collects
songs.
everything.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay. We have one banger after the other. We have one of the best Nickelback songs, which I'm not here to jump on that bandwagon. Do I love Nickelback? No, but I don't think it's automatically like a thing I have against the movie.
I think we're
If
also very nostalgic about it. Like Nickelback was everywhere when we were growing up, and there was like I think as we get older, we warm up a little bit more to
well,
Nickelback.
if I can't get mad at Spider-Man 2002 for having a Chad
Yeah.
Kroger song, I can't really get mad at having a Nickelback song in a bar fight, which is
Yeah.
that'd be the place to put that, right?
He's on his redemption tour right now anyways, so maybe maybe he'll be beloved by the time this comes out.
We'll have okay. Go ahead. We have Hoobastank, okay, and
Hoobastank, yep.
we don't have basic bitch Hoobastank. We
Deep
have a
cut,
deep cut
deep cut
Hoobastank,
Hoobastank.
and we don't just have basic bitch Evanescence. We have two
Well,
Evanescence songs. Did they hold the producer's son hostage until they agreed to put two of their songs in the soundtrack? And even as I jokingly say that, I acknowledge that they are more than welcome in this movie. Like, to me, there's not a band that fits a movie better than Evanescence really fits what they're doing in this movie.
look, as a child in the Cusper generation, this is one of the greatest movie soundtracks of all time for me. Are you kidding me? Let me just say this. I am infamously amongst my friends and family somebody who I have gone on record in saying that I'm not really an album guy when I listen to music. I'm a playlist guy. I very rarely like every song on an album.
Mhm.
There are two from my childhood that I could say are, in my opinion, perfect albums, which means I like every song on the album. One of them is My Chemical Romance, Black Parade, and the other one is Evanescence Fallen, which we have two songs from in this fucking movie. I was loving it. I was having so much fun. I thought the Punisher soundtrack was great, and that's something I did not even mention when we talked about that movie. I love the soundtrack for that movie, but this takes it to a whole nother level because of the Evanescence. I Not just because of it though. They fill it with so many other things that you can love about this. You really have to. I think you have to have been around and enjoyed the music during this time to really feel this soundtrack. So I understand where people are coming from, but you need to work on your palette for music if this is something you don't like, because let me tell you, 2003, peak year for some incredible music.
But to be clear, if you don't like this soundtrack, it's a you problem
It's a you problem.
that you
You're the
need to work
problem.
on. Yeah.
Go away. I don't want to talk to you.
I really don't want anything changed about this soundtrack.
Yeah.
Daredevil listens to Seether to block out the sounds of the outside world, and for some reason, Seether
Yes.
isn't louder than everything else. is that a good thing? Is it a good thing that he listens to Seether? I'm
Hell
gonna say
yes, it
good.
is.
I'm gonna say yes.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah,
The
it's
only
good.
way they could have pandered to me more is if they put on White Zombie.
But there's a song in this soundtrack that features Rob Zombie.
Yes,
Either
yes.
featuring Rob Zombie.
But if this movie had been made 10 years earlier, you know that Black Sunshine
Oh, 100%.
or More Human Than Human would be on that stereo instead of Seether. But no
Yeah, I
complaints.
like. No, hey, look, I like that Seether's on the Seether was also on the Punisher soundtrack. I think they made a lot of appearances around this time. Um, yeah, I think I wouldn't change a thing about it.
No,
Perfection.
it's immaculate.
I
Also,
mean it when I say this is one of my favorite film soundtracks of all time. Like
well, I
when
believe
you
it.
talk about outside music, like I think a score, I try to separate them as much as I can, like a score and a soundtrack. You know, original music I think is untouchable when it comes to film. I think it's one of the most important components of a movie.
I agree.
But when it comes to just like getting songs from pop culture and putting them in a movie, this is one of the best examples I have ever seen, in my opinion, from my
And
upbringing.
they did their research. They went above and beyond. They have a House of Pain song that is not Jump Around.
No, they got several deep cuts, not just Ubastank. Okay, they go deep cuts everywhere,
I
except for
know
Evanescence. I think those two Evanescence songs were all over the radio
they must have been
in that
looking
time.
for Irish rock that wasn't U2.
Well, yeah, it wasn't U2, wasn't Dropkick Murphys, wasn't Flogging Molly. They were like, let's just like really look for something that's like popular enough.
You could have done the Pogues if you really wanted to score hipster points.
See, but I think they wanted it to be like I've heard this on the radio one time. You know, like I heard
Yeah.
this one. I've heard this song before, even if it's like the Evanescence songs were kind of everywhere around that time, especially Bring Me to Life. Like that song was
It's
all
everywhere
over the place.
now. It never went
As it
away.
should be.
Yeah.
It's that song should never go away. Amy Lee is a
Unironically,
saint in my
yeah.
book.
Yes.
Yeah.